Sorry about that. Someone was coming into my room. It would have been embarrassing when I was sitting here talking to myself. Not that much of a YouTuber to do that yet. But anyways, okay. Excuse me. um, she, okay, so she finds this earring on the floor. And it's the same earring that this girl was wearing in the picture that was supposedly his daughter. He told her was his daughter. So he said this girl like left the country, changed states. No, so her earring and she scraped help and blood on the earring, and so she shows what she found to Emmett and the other younger guy living in the shelter with her, not John Goodman, not the builder of the original builder, and he's like, she's like, he told me this. She says that he told me this was a picture of his daughter, and but I found her earring, and he's like, no, that's not his daughter. He's like, that's a picture of this girl who used to go to high school with my daughter. I mean, my sister when we were younger, and they're all from the same city, same town. And he's like, well, a couple years after she graduated, she skipped town. Everyone thought she just disappeared. And so they just sit there and she's like, did she ever come back? And he's like, no. And so like, basically, he told these lies that he had his daughter, and that these are her clothes that he gave her, and that she just left. But it turns out he really abducted some young girl and kept her in the shelter before. So it's like, A, there really was a nuclear war, and he saved these people, and they're living with him, and that's the truth. B, she thought he was an abductor, and turns out before this all happened, he really did abduct a young girl, and held her hostage down there. And so now you're just like, what the heck? So, in my opinion, at that point in the movie, they could have kept trusting him. I think they could have, because like he's one person. They're all living down there together, and he's really like predictable, kind of. The bad guy or good guy, what he's like a mix kind of. But they decide that they're gonna build a nuclear suit and run out of the shelter looking for help. And I won't give any more of the movie away, but the rest of it is pretty. It doesn't get boring. It doesn't. It ends good. There's nothing. That movie's freaking crazy. That's all I have to say. And you should go watch it. And um, it is not a lot of some movies. I try to give good reviews, but I guess I don't know. Like I get bored during the movie. That movie wasn't boring at all. I felt like I was gonna have like an anxiety attack. There's crazy stuff in that movie. Warning, YouTube and Facebook. I don't know about you, but I just woke up, and last night I saw 10 Cloverfield Lane, and I tried to make a review for it last night right after I saw the movie, and it turned out it was just horrible. It didn't make any sense what I was saying, and I even said the title of the movie wrong. So, but anyways, I saw that movie last night. It's not a sequel to the original Cloverfield, but it's a family relative. That's what the director said, and it's a lot better. If you remember the first Cloverfield, it was like shot from the point of view of a handheld camera, and it was kind of hard to follow. And like at the very end, there's a reveal of like the monster, and a lot of people liked it. It was kind of weird to me. I didn't like watching it. I don't like watching it from like a camcorder. I like to see it's a regular movie. This one's not like that. It's a regular movie. And I'll start by saying it's really exciting. It's suspenseful. It startles you a lot in a good way, not like it makes you think a lot, and it's creepy. I really liked it last night. There was no one in the theater like making fun of it, or no one really seemed disappointed. It I kind of wondered when I was choosing a movie last night if it would be boring, or if it would be like uh, cheap. Like some of the horror movies these days are just so cheesy, but it's not really a horror movie, and it wasn't boring in the slightest. Um, it was like a really good book. Like I was excited for it to end just so I could know what happened, but I wasn't bored at all. It's just like in a good book when you like want to skip pages, you like just to see what happens at the end. It's like that kind of. And so I definitely recommend you go see it if you like any type of action or suspenseful mystery movie. And then I'm gonna give spoilers now, so I didn't want to get. But if you don't want to watch the spoilers, you should go watch that movie. It was freaking cool. I thought it was gonna be kind of stupid and lame, but it was actually like there wasn't anything. The only thing is at the beginning, John Goodman's acting is a little forced, but it was a really good movie. So okay, so anyways, this girl, the title scene is hardcore. They did it perfectly. She's driving in her car, she's texting on her phone, and all of a sudden she crashes and the car freezes, and then the title of the movie pops up, and you're like, whoa, and so she crashes her car while she's leaving her boyfriend, her husband. She's leaving him just out of the blue because they're fighting. She just takes all her stuff and leaves, and leaves her keys and the wedding ring on the table, and she just leaves. And you're like, what is going on? I thought this. And so she crashes her car. She wakes up. She's handcuffed her leg to a bed. She's got her head's bleeding. She's got an IV hooked to her arm, and she's on the floor of a room, chained to the wall. And she's like, "Oh no, I've been kidnapped. I've been abducted." And at first, she's just freaking out. She tries to break free. She tries to set the place on fire. John Goodman, who is this guy who supposedly abducted her, is um he's he comes down, and she's like, "Let me go. What are you gonna do to me?" He thinks she's trying to figure this out, and she's really, really just she wants to escape. She's like, there's another guy there that help him build the shelter, and uh, he's like they tell her, they're like, we saved you. John Goodman tells him, he's like, I actually shaved you. He's like, I saved you. There's a nuclear war out there, and you would be dead if it wasn't for me. And she remembers that he crashed her off the road, and she's like, how she's trying to figure out how could you have saved me if you crashed me off the road and took me here. So the part you see in the commercial is she finally plans it out to where they're at the dinner table. She gets the keys to the front door, which is upstairs out of an somewhat airlocked place, and uh, she breaks the bottle on his head, runs upstairs. She's about to go outside. She's like, this guy's full of crap. He's just a weirdo. He's lying to us. There's no nuclear war, and he's just like an abductor or kidnapper and blah blah blah. And she's like, she get out there, and you're like, oh, she's gonna find out what's really out there. It's really like, I can't wait to see. I can't wait to see. So she runs up there. She gets through the first door. She gets through the second door. She's about to go out, and she looks out there, and it's nighttime. There's just a car staring with its lights, and this is like in a farming area, lights staring at the door in nighttime. And and they kept telling her that like no one's alive. There's no way there's a car, because she swears she heard a car drive above them. And she's like, "There's a car." She's like, she starts waving, "Help me, help me!" And all of a sudden, this lady just pops up on the window, and half her face is like melted off, and she's like, it's freaking weird. It's like she's like, "Let me in, please let me in." She's like, "You gotta let me in." She's like begging to let her in, and all of a sudden, the guy who's behind her, who she was running from, is like, she's like looking to him for comfort, for help. She's like, I forgot his name, Howard. She's like, "Howard." She's like, "There's someone that wants to come in," and he's like, "Don't let her in." He's like, "You can't let her in. Don't even open the door." She's like, this lady's just like, "Please, please let me in." And the lady starts getting mad because she knows that the girl's not going to let her in. She starts calling her names and goes into a panic and starts slamming her head on the window, and like half her face has already come off from this bomb. So you find out that this guy's telling the truth. He's not an abductor or a kidnapper, but there definitely was a nuclear war. And so she goes back inside, and everyone becomes friends then. But she just keeps thinking in her head, like, he drove me off the road, like, and he comes to her and he's like, I was trying to pass you to get to, I heard about the war. I mean, I heard about the bomb coming, and I was trying to pass you on the road, and I accidentally crashed you, and I felt so bad that I took you here to my shelter. The other guy, he kind of fought his way in. He didn't even want the other guy there, Howard, the main John Goodman, and um so it all kind of starts making sense. Now you're like, okay, there really was a nuclear war. Everyone's down here just trying to like do their time, kind of, because they might have to live down there for a year or two, and um and then all of a sudden you start learning more about John Goodman Howard, and he's like, yeah, I used to have a daughter. She left. Here's a picture of her. Blah blah blah. This is her. Yeah, yeah. Here's some of her clothes, since your clothes got contaminated, and from running up to the door. And a couple whatever days later, she's talking with Emmett, which is the other man who came to the shelter, not the guy who built it. I mean, he helped build it, but not the main guy, Howard, not the big guy with the pistol. And and the air filter clogs for their shelter, and she's the only one that can fit up there to climb through the air duct and unclog, turn the switch twice to restart it. She goes up there and she climbs. There's another window. It's like a separate department of the bomb shelter. She climbs to the top, and someone has scraped help on the inside of the window. So like it wasn't someone. It's creepy. It was hard to figure out at first. Someone didn't come to the window and scrape like, let me in, help. Someone was inside the shelter and scraped help, and there's like blood. And then she climbs back down, and there's an earring on the ground. And she goes back to the picture of what he called as his daughter, and it's one of the earrings that she's wearing. So whoever that is in that picture,